This is an anime girl. Homosexuality.
Once upon a time I was in my bedroom cozily browsing YouTube when I came across this video titled Why People Like Anime Girls from a channel called Pax Tube. Because I was bored as hell and I like weird videos, I decided I might as well give this video a watch. But instead of watching a high quality video about the subject, I ended up listening to an incompetent conservative man rant about how he thinks anime is reinforcing his far-right political agenda, with his incessant rambling only being separated by the YouTube video chapters. The whole video just felt like cringeworthy propaganda, and in this video I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about. But before we dive in, I should warn you that I'm not an anime expert, so anime fans might cringe at some of what I say. But enough intro, let's watch some content.
This is an anime girl. To the average observer, this may look like just another animated character.
It's mildly disturbing that this video begins with Pax treating these cartoon characters like some kind of newly discovered species of wild animal.
But what if I told you that characters like this have been reaching international popularity? Whether you're from Japan or not, the odds are that you yourself have seen someone online using an anime girl as an avatar. In this video on PaxTube, we're here to find out why these characters are so well liked.
That's not true. We're here to listen to a creepy man who sounds like Al Borland from Home Improvement during The Hangover overanalyze Japanese cartoons and force his anti-abortion and anti-LGBT views upon all who click on his video, subsequently straying away from the topic of Japanese animation.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about anime. Unlike Western animation, which typically gears itself toward children, the anime industry targets a wide variety of age demographics.
Yes, because adult-oriented Western animated series like Invincible and Spawn don't exist. This guy didn't even try to do any research.
Thus you'll find fans who are adults and teenagers alike.
Why is this guy treating anime like some advanced art form only sophisticated higher beings are able to enjoy? They're just cartoons from Japan. I wish people could stop treating Japanese cartoons this way, because they really aren't that different from Western animation. If anything, I'd argue that Western cartoons overall have more variety than anime. Western cartoons can target pretty much any age group the creator chooses. When was the last time you've heard of an anime for kids under 13? I just wanted to get that out of the way because it's annoying that people think all Western cartoons are aimed at small kids.
In recent years, Western companies have even attempted live-action adaptations of anime, with not much success, to put it lightly. But the rise of popularity of anime in the West is worthy of investigation, and it leads us to some telling conclusions. A key factor that stands out in anime's success is its female characters, who garner fan bases in and of themselves. The term waifu, a variation of the word wife, is used commonly in anime circles to refer to one's favorite female character. It's become obvious at this point that anime girls have a special charm that viewers in the West are picking up on. Firstly, appearance. Now, the most common explanation of why anime girls are popular is that they're cute, and that's very true. Now, of course, anime doesn't exist in a vacuum, so to understand its ascendancy in the West, we also need to look at what's going on in Western media. In Western media, by contrast, there's been efforts to reduce character designs that even differentiate between men and women. Some have linked this to the fat acceptance and androgynous movements, but truthfully, these two movements are simply two branches of the entire source.
When does Pax plan on acknowledging the fact that transgender and androgynous anime girls do exist? And what does the fat acceptance movement have to do with anime girls?
That source is feminism, which has come to utterly dominate Western media. Hollywood and television studios consistently identify more as feminist and liberal than the general public. This is then reflected in their portrayals of women.
It's ridiculous that Pax dismisses any degree of social awareness as just being toxic leftism. And when is this asshole gonna return to talking about Japanese cartoons?
In a great irony, feminism rejects the value of femininity and works instead as a conduit to make females masculine. The biological differences between the sexes are seen not as something to be celebrated, but as obstacles to be destroyed. These natural differences are thus downplayed, and studios put ridiculous efforts into making female characters look and behave like their male counterparts.
Since the first time I saw this video, this has been the part that moved into my head completely rent-free. For those who don't know a whole lot about the Law and Order universe, the woman shown here is Olivia Benson. I find the inclusion of Olivia clips here incredibly ridiculous, as she is canonically a police officer. She isn't trying to be masculine, she's just doing her job. And don't you think it would be strange to see a cop in a sparkly crown and a big pink tutu dancing around the police HQ?
Things weren't always this way in Western media, but they certainly are now. Meanwhile, this kind of feminist influence simply does not exist in anime studios.
To be honest, the conservative pandering made me forget this video is supposed to be about cartoons.
And that's played an enormous part in this contrast of character designs. And beyond just the issue of feminism, a solid portion of the animation that gets propped up by corporations in the West is downright hideous. So it's clear that the physical appearance of anime girls is a main factor that makes them popular in the current West. But I will submit to you that there is an even greater factor at play that goes far deeper than physical appearance. To lead into this, let's look at how Maki from the anime Love Lab responds to receiving a compliment from a boy. Take note of the traits that are being displayed here. This leads into the point. Anime girls are liked because of their virtuous and feminine personality traits. Characters are written this way intentionally, because not only do these virtues make them good love interests, but they're also admirable traits in and of themselves. I've noticed that chastity in particular is a value that anime likes to highlight. This applies to both male and female characters, but to avoid going off topic, I'll stick to the females.
Of course, now you're worried about straying off topic.
Importantly, even female protagonists that are designed in a sexualized way are written carefully to have these virtues. It's a rarity to hear a character say something like this outside of anime. A 2019 research report from the Institute of Family Studies found that traditionally minded and religious couples reported the highest level of relationship quality and sexual satisfaction. Other research has shown that women who engage in promiscuous sex are more likely to have failed marriages, more likely to become single mothers, more likely to get an abortion, and less likely to report personal happiness than women who had zero sexual partners prior to being married.
And this has nothing at all to do with anime.
It truthfully turns out that the sexual revolution and free love were an utter disaster.
The history of marriage in the United States has fuck all to do with Japanese cartoons.
But in spite of this, most of Western society continues to double down on normalizing promiscuity. Fortunately though, things aren't all bad just yet, as surveys do show that other shows that focus on teenage relationships are rife with premarital sex, abortion, homosexuality, and marriage being treated as a backwards institution.
I understand the part about premarital sex, but there is nothing wrong with abortion or homosexuality. I think this guy seriously needs to start talking out of his mouth and not his ass. I also hate the fact that he thinks couples can't be happy unless they get married the moment they even look at each other. That's more than enough Pax Tube for now. The rest of the video is just him treating Japan like a conservative utopia. He also says a bunch of other weird ass shit about how he wants to marry a teenage anime girl and convert her to traditionalist Catholicism or whatever the fuck, but I think we've suffered enough. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Stay safe and have a good life.
Homosexuality, 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 homosexuality,